Yes, I'm here again, and for today's video, we are going to talk about the infinite form of verbs in different languages and the way to conjugate them. So, usually in my videos, I start from the English language and go to the East. I start with English, German, Russian, and Persian, and then Japanese. But today, I'm going to start with Japanese and then go to the West because the Japanese way of conjugating verbs is actually pretty easy compared to like Russian or Persian, which is fucking hard. Anyway, in Japanese, all verbs end in a u, in the plain form of verb, in the normal form, easy form, infinite form, whatever you call it. All the verbs end with a u sound. Okay, why the fuck I wrote the numerals with Farsi? 2, 3. I'm losing my fucking mind. Anyway, all the verbs end in a u sound, like taberu, eating, nomu, drinking, ikiru, leaving, iku, going, kuru, coming, and that's just the way it works. And the thing about Japanese verb, infinite form of a Japanese verb, is that it can define the present meaning, or it can define a future meaning. So you can say taberu, you could indicate future, or you could indicate right now, the present tense. The thing is that the Japanese language doesn't have a logic that much, a solid logic for the future tense compared to English, German, or Russian, which has a solid case, a solid tense of verb to conjugate the verb and turn it to future case. Usually in Japanese, from my experience, I'm not an expert. First of all, let's say that I'm just a language nerd and I love yapping, and I love yapping about Japanese and other languages because I'm a fucking nerd with autism, and I didn't get the computer science autism, I got the useless autism. Art and language autism. Anyway, you could indicate the time, the tense of the verb by a time indicator. Like, you could say Ima taberuyo. It means I'm going to eat it now, and this yo is kind of an emphasizer. You would see it a lot. Yo, na, no. This sounds kind of like an emphasizer in Japanese. I can understand it as a Persian speaker. My native tongue is Persian. It's easy for me to understand because we have a kind of similar thing as well in Persian. And as you can see here, we got ima, which means now, which is a time indicator. Or you could going to say ashta, ashta, taberu, ashta, taberu. You could say tomorrow I'm going to eat. Right now I'm eating it. I'm going to eat it. All right. Or you could say ashta, tomorrow I'm going to eat. And that is the infinite form of Japanese verbs. It is pretty easy. And the infinite form of Japanese verb divide to three different kinds of verbs. We got normal verbs which ends in u, ru, su, ku, u, mu, nu, su, zu, and it's pretty easy. All the verbs in Japanese ends in a u, in the infinite form. And then you got type 2 verbs, which are ru verbs. Okay, don't make a mistake. Ru verbs could be a type 1 verb, but here it is. A ru verb that got a e or a sound before it, like taberu or ikiru. You see, before the ru there's a e sound, before the ru there's a sound. So it's a type 2 verb, not a type 1 verb. And here's two exceptions. Hashiru, what the fuck? Hashiru and ka-eru. As you can see, before the ru there's a e sound, before the ru there's a sound. But these two the verbs are exceptions. They are not type 2 verbs, they are type one verbs. So when you want to turn it to mas form, you wouldn't say kaemas, you would say kaedimas. You wouldn't say hashimas, you would say hashirimas. Alright? And then we get to type 3 verbs, which is pretty easy as well. Only 2 exceptions. You got kuru, which means to come, and you got suru, which means to do. And it's still pretty easy. I think I'm running out of ink on this market, so I would grab this one. And it's pretty easy. It got a few exceptions, but to be honest, Japanese, solid, pretty easy. It's nothing compared to all the exceptions that you would see in Russian and German. I'm telling you, I'm losing my fucking mind, man. And now we get to my mother tongue, Persian, Farsi, Iranian, whatever you call it, I don't care. There's a lot of misconceptions about this topic. Should I call it Persian, or should I call it Farsi, or should I call it Parsi? Here's the thing. You're an English native speaker. English people, when they want to refer to the Japanese language, they say Japanese. And Japanese people, when they want to refer to their own language, they say Nihongo. You are referring something else. Is it contemptuous? No, it's normal. It's a normal human language thing. So, what should you refer to the Farsi language as an English speaker? Persian. It doesn't matter. And if you see a Persian neo thing on the internet, no, it's Parsi, we are alien. Just say shut the fuck up, bitch. Anyway, now we get to the Persian language. The Parsi language, you might call it. In the Persian language, things are pretty easy still. For the infinite form of the verbs, you got the an sound. All the verbs end in an, like خولدن، رفتن، آمدن. Let me wipe this verb because it's kind of hard for me to explain, kind of. So you got خولدن, as you see, ends in an. You got رفتن, ends in an, and آمدن ends in an. It's kind of similar to German, which verbs end in n. Haben, essen, trinken, schlagen, schlafen, gehen, geben, and things like that. This is the infinite form of the verb in Persian. And here's the thing. In German, for example, the infinite form of the verb could also mean the present plural first person or the present plural third person. You see? But in Persian, it doesn't mean plural or anything else. The infinite form is just something separate from present tense, past tense, future tense. Infinite form is something separate. It's like Russian. If you are Russian, you understand what I'm saying. But I can't, kind of express what I mean to English speakers as an English speaker myself. It's kind of strange. I have seen it in Persian, I have seen it in Russian. The infinite form is something separate from the verb tenses. So, خولدن only indicates the actions of eating. So, the meaning of خولدن is the eating. The meaning of رفتن is the coming. The meaning of آمدن means the آمدن means coming. رفتن means going. The meaning of رفتن means the going. The meaning of آمدن means the coming. It's the action of the verb. It's not a verb tense. Alright? Let's get to Russian and get our brain exploded. Now we get to Russian. In Russian, most verbs end in a T sound. Not a T, it's a silent T. They end in a T sound, a silent T. Alright? So they end in art, they might end in eat, they might end in it, they might end in yacht, but they end in T. most of the verbs. This is the infinite form of the verbs. They end with t, like jest and pit, which means to eat and to drink. Here's the thing: when you want to conjugate verbs in Russian, you conjugate them in two aspects. You got a perfective aspect, you got a imperfective aspect of the verbs. So if you are right now doing the verb, you can kind of say, if you conjugate the verb in imperfective aspect, it is kind of like present tense. You know, I cannot it's Russian logic, not English logic. You cannot learn a language which is on with your language logic. When you want to learn a new language, you have to learn it with its logic. And the perfective form, the perfective infinite form differs from the imperfective infinite forms of verbs in Russian. So, jest imperfective, siest perfective, pit imperfective, sipet, sip, weep, weepit perfective, jest, siest, pit, weepit, yem, yesh, jest, yedim, yedite, yediot, siem, siesh, siet, siedin, siedite, siediot. And let's get to German before we get crazy over Russian. Let's talk about Polish. I have studied a little bit of Polish. I cannot say I have any words to say about it, or I'm a master at Polish. No, I have studied Polish a little bit, and actually my Russian is stronger than my Polish, and my Polish is really bad. I'm going to say I know a little bit of Polish verbs. If I say my grade is A1 A1.1 in Polish, to be honest. I know a few words. The verbs iść and the verb jeść and the verb pujem, puch, pitch and the verb pitch. This means to go. This means jeść means to eat, just like jest in Russian. You know, they are a Slavic language, so you would find similarities. And pitch, which means to drink. This is the infinite form. As you see in Polish, Russian, Persian, the infinite form of the verb is something different than the conjugation of the verb, than the present tense and the 10 different tenses of the verb, despite the German languages, which we will get to it in a few minutes. I haven't seen any fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Please don't I'm utterly sorry about my stutteration there. I should kill myself. I should hang myself for that. That was fucking killing. All my aura lost to the wind. I think most of the Polish verbs end in a che. You know, I have studied a few and most of them end in a che. Let's get to German. So in German, we got N ending. It's kind of similar to Farsi, to Persian, you see. We got essen, we got gehen, and other verbs. I'm not going to write it because it's really similar to English. You would understand what I'm saying. Essen, gehen, geben, haben. You know, it's pretty easy. And here's the thing. In German, when you conjugate the verb, this is the infinite form of the verb. When you conjugate the verb, you would realize that, like, gehe, gehen. I'm sorry, my handwriting is fucking awful. I know. So it would be gehe, gehen, gießt, geht, gehen. Right? And you would realize that the first person plural and the third person plural is the same with the infinite form. You see, you would only see it in Germanic languages. You also saw it in Japanese. But despite Russian, Polish, and Persian, the infinite form in English and German is not something completely separated from the verb tenses. So you see, gehen is also, beside meaning implying the infinite form of the verb, is mean the plural third person or the plural first person. And let's get to English. I'm not going to pause it anyway because we are speaking English, right? English, pretty easy. You don't have an infinite form mostly, I would say. You got eat, you got go, to eat, to go, what to do with it. It's just that. You see, if you want to conjugate it, the most conjugation that English people would do, and it's really fucking hard. Ooh, they add an S. Oh my fucking god, my mind cannot comprehend it. You see? So, that's the only conjugation that you got in English. It eats, it goes, you don't have a solid infinite form in English. You know what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm saying. If you want to make an infinite form, you would say to eat, to go. You would add a to it. to it. That's fucking funny. Anyway, bonus point. Let's talk about Dutch. Huh? Let's talk about the Netherlands. Dutch. In Dutch, it's pretty similar to German. Most verbs end in a n, like kunnen. Kun in Farsi means as. So I'm going to speak silently. Parents at home, kun. Kunnen, which means as. Now it means to can in Dutch. It doesn't mean as. It means as in Farsi. Anyway, kunnen, and then we got goeien. Why not goeien? Which means to follow. And conjugating verbs in Dutch is pretty easier compared to German. So conjugating like groeien would go like this: groei, groeit, groeit, groeien, groeien, groeien. So as you see, not just the third person plural and the first person plural and the third person plural are similar. Also, the second person plural is similar. So it's groeien, groeien, groeien. And also the second person singular and third person singular is similar as well. So compared to German, you only gotta learn three forms: groei, groeit, groeien. Groei, ik groei, wij groeien, jij groeit, jullie or u groeit, groeien, hij, zij, het groeit, and zij groeien. Just like that. I might be lying on the pronunciation. I just started learning Dutch, so I don't know a lot about it. It's pretty easy. If you know German and English, I recommend to you learn Dutch. You would learn it in under like 4 months, 5 months. It's pretty fucking easy if you know German or English. I don't know why I use a lot of swear words. Fucking love the word fuck, man. I love English, to be honest. Anyway, that was for today's video. I hope it was educational. I hope it was useful. I hope it was splendid and pleasant for you. Hope you consider subscribing and get your brain exploded. Anyway, I'm fucking kidding. Anyway. Anyway, yeah. Goodbye.